Okay, it's recording. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So, hello. And today I'm going to do an interview with my friend. Um, yeah, we are hoping that this goes well, and I wrote down a few questions beforehand, but we'll see where it goes. Yeah, so I showed you a little bit of the article, and you skimmed it very, very lightly, correct?
Yeah.
You got to
Kind of
like,
read through a few words and pages.
yeah, I got the second page.
Yep.
So, let me first ask you, where do you believe you lie on the political spectrum?
Um, I'm pretty far right in the political scheme of things.
Okay. Would you say you're more authoritarian or more libertarian?
More libertarian than
Okay.
authoritarian.
Okay. So you're a far right libertarian. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in any conspiracies? And feel free to name them
Um,
if you do.
yeah, there's probably a few that I either believe in or, you know, still keep an open mind to it. Some of them are just non-believable, but unbelievable, but, you know,
Hmm.
like the 2020 election.
You
Those
believe in
conspiracies.
that?
Yeah, I definitely believe the election was rigged. So,
Well, would you care to give a little bit of a reason why?
well, when there's like everyone's done counting the votes, so then 1 o'clock in the morning comes and President Joe Biden miraculously gets 100,000 votes and just wins the states he needs to take the election. It makes you think.
So would
There's
you
plenty.
say it definitely happened? Or would you say it's likely it could happen?
I'd say it's very likely that it happened.
Okay. So, I mean, that's your evidence based, like, that's the reason why you believe just those sort of things, those weird things that happen?
Yeah, there was too many coincidences to just, look past.
Hmm. So, can I ask where you got that information?
Um, Random news sites. It was on the news. I don't really watch TV news because it's garbage. But
Hmm. Well, that
I'll
was
go
my
on.
follow-up question, but go ahead.
What was the follow up question?
I was just going to say, well, I mean, obviously, all mainstream media, pretty much everybody in the media circle is saying, well, the mainstream media circle is saying how the election was not rigged and that it was a fair election and whatnot. And I was going to ask you what you thought about that. So if you wouldn't mind going in a little bit of detail.
Yeah, all the mainstream media on TV and Facebook and all that is pretty biased
Mm-hmm.
towards one side. Obviously, it's more towards the left side.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just kind of have to go on the internet yourself and seek out the information, or else you're not going to find it.
So what validates those sort of your own research comparing to, the mainstream media? Like what makes yours more truthful than theirs, their truth? Like what is showing you that?
I mean, when you go on and you just see one random website with some dumb piece of evidence, like a picture, you can't really trust that. But when you go on multiple smaller news sites and all that, and you see all this evidence put in front of you, you can kind of put it all together yourself
Mm-hmm.
rather than just look at the same news on the TV, no matter what channel you're on.
So are you saying that these smaller news sites are not biased?
everyone has a bias, more or less,
Yeah.
but I feel like the smaller news sites are more inclined to actually put out more of the truth. Not the whole truth, but more of the truth.
Okay, and I would like to highlight a word you just said. You said that you feel. Now, I'm going to skip ahead because this was sort of a question I had later on, but I'm going to
Mhm.
say it now. Um, so, like I just said, you said that you feel like these sites are like that.
Yeah.
So, you're going based more off of instinct rather than what, you know, professionals and higher up people are telling you, correct? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Yeah.
Okay. So just generally, do you believe conspiracism is more about ideology than evidence? Or would you say, okay, go ahead.
I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Not really that it's more of one or the other, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because stemming from either side, you can have an idea and go seek out evidence for it, or there's a piece of evidence, and then you can kind of make your own general thoughts.
So wouldn't that just mean that you're basically using your own biases and your own ideology to form a truth?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, do you feel like that's an accurate representation of how you feel and how you think? According to conspiracism.
Yeah, I guess that could be an accurate way to put it.
So since, you're not unfallible or anything, or some omnipotent being and you can be wrong, so I mean, how does that sort of thought play with the thought of conspiracism in your own head?
I don't know exactly what you mean by that question.
Basically, you're not always right, and you're
Yeah.
saying you're going based off of more instinct rather than what other people are telling you. So how does that sit with you, you know knowing, oh hey, I could be wrong about this stuff, you know
Uh, I mean, it's not like I look at the conspiracies and then I go, okay, now this is 100% it. Like, I'm open to the idea of talking about it,
hmm
but
I
when
think,
you
yeah,
start
everybody
to,
should be open to talking about it. I mean, obviously, everybody sort of has their own level of, hey, this is stupid. I'm not even going to bother putting any energy talking about it. But for the most
yeah,
part, political conspiracies should be talked about, in my
yeah.
opinion. But sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to comment.
No, I was pretty much just going to say the same thing. Like, I'm open to talk about the conspiracies and all that. I'm not ever going to think that it's 100% the truth.
hmm So, what would it take for you to change? Like, let's say, for an example, with the election,
Hmm.
what would it take for you to change and go, okay, maybe there wasn't election fraud? At least, flip to the other
Yeah.
side of more than likely not.
If they
Who's
could
they, real quick?
show anyone that sits on that side of the conspiracy.
Who don't believe in it.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't believe in the rigged election.
So this could be Joe Schmo, or this could be, I don't know, Hillary Clinton or something. Anybody could
Yeah,
show you
I
this.
mean, I'd probably be more inclined to listen to Joe Schmo because higher up people like that are just going to try to get you over to their side no matter what.
hmm
But if they showed actual evidence and things of that nature to help make me believe it, then maybe I would be more inclined to switch sides.
Okay. I mean, I haven't kept up with sort of what they're presenting as, why, other than just basically saying how it wasn't rigged and how,
Yeah.
the courts aren't taking the cases or anything like that. I haven't really kept up with any sort of evidence. Have you heard about any sort of evidence to say that there wasn't election fraud?
As to solid evidence, no, not that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
No one has been like, here's proof that this is why this happened. It's all just, oh, trust us, we did this, or this happened. Just
Mm-hmm.
believe us.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sort of to go back a little bit, why do you distrust authority? I mean, I'm saying this as a broad term, but I'm basically saying it might have come
Why
off
do
as a
I
broad term.
distrust the government?
Yeah, basically. Like, you just said you'd rather trust Joe Schmo than Hillary Clinton, and you'd rather trust these sort of independent news outlets compared to CNN or Fox or whatever.
Yeah. Well, obviously, like a small form of government is a good thing. Society should have it. But all these people in the higher positions want to keep that position and want to keep the people listening to them and pretty much doing what they want.
So it's about control.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's about control, and so would you say that majority of people in government are basically only in it for themselves?
I'd
But very
say
basically.
I'd say a good portion of them, yes, are in it for themselves.
Okay. Okay. Um. So sort of to go off another vein, um, I'm gonna ask you a little bit of a hypothetical. Um, if you were presented with a conspiracy, like as an example, that Osama bin Laden was already dead when American special forces raided his compound. Okay, sorry, I'm mixed up the question there. Would you believe in the conspiracy theory that Osama bin Laden was already dead when American special forces raided the compound?
Uh, I haven't really. I've heard about it, but I haven't like looked into it or seen anything from either side. But yeah, I could believe that.
Okay, okay. So if I were to ask you, uh, basically, sort of the same thing but opposite, um, would you believe that he's still alive?
To this day,
Yeah, like basically the opposite. Would you?
yeah, I would still believe that.
Okay,
I
so
could see either one being true.
so why do you think you could take both of those, even though they're completely opposite conspiracies? Um, how can what makes you be able to take in both of those?
I mean, basically, the whole thing with Bin Laden was a huge deal for America and to kind of help us feel like we're doing a good job and we're making progress in the Middle East.
Hmm.
And either way, I can see that as being either he was already dead and we just wanted the people to help support the war, or he's still alive and we still just wanted people to be like, yeah, we should stay in the Middle East and keep doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you think that either way, it could have helped the agenda of whoever's trying to, uh, like, doing these conspiracies.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which one it is. It just the goal of it all. Like it could be both. Like well,
Yeah.
not both exactly, but like how do I say this? Uh, I'm basically just reiterating what I just said.
Yeah.
Um, so we can go towards the end here. I think we've been talking around like 10 minutes or so. Um, so as a general question, is conspiracism harmful to society and individuals? I don't think the right word would be psychosis, but I mean not psychosis. Basically their mentality,
Um,
like their
I
mental.
definitely wouldn't say it's bad for society because, like, it gets you thinking at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you just turn away every conspiracy theory, it's put into your head and you think about it for even a split second. So it gets the general populace thinking and making their own ideas or uh, thoughts on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I can definitely see how some people get way too deep into conspiracies and that kind of becomes their like whole life,
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yeah, I could see how it'd be bad for their general mentality. But as society as a whole, I think the presence of conspiracy theories does help the general public.
Okay. Let me put it like this then. I have a hypothetical to sort of go along with what you're saying about the whole, that sort of kernel of an idea is left in as an imprint on somebody's thoughts.
Yeah.
Um, so like let's say the government or somebody in some sort of higher authority than either of us will ever get near in our lifetime.
Uh
Um,
huh.
let's say they want to spread a conspiracy, like a thought of a conspiracy that didn't actually happen,
Yeah.
to do harm. So, as you just said, and I think, um, it's just kind of how human brains work. We did talk about this a bit more in class, but we won't get into that just now. Um, so like I said, let's say they were trying to do harm by spreading a conspiracy theory and getting people to have like doubts and whatnot that come from this conspiracy that they're spreading. Wouldn't you say that's a bad thing?
I mean, I guess it could be a bad thing overall, but I feel like it would only be a bad thing to the people that let those type of thoughts kind of control their life, you know?
So like basically mentally weak people.
Yeah, because like I won't go through my days just thinking about conspiracies and all that, no matter what it is. But if you let it sit in your head and you keep going over and over again, the more, like you said, mentally weak people, I can see how that would do some harm.
So let's say, this is the everyday person, I think just sort of, takes what is told to them and, doesn't really think too much about it and just sort of goes through life. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe, okay, so yeah, you agree with that sort of perception on
Uh huh.
society as a whole, really. So, I mean, if most people aren't really thinking uh, like that, I feel like they could be classified as mentally weak because obviously, like mentally weak in what we were talking about and how
Yeah. Yeah.
the people can be affected by that. Because I mean, obviously the people above us are very smart people, regardless of good or bad things they're doing. Um,
Yes.
at, and if they wanted to cause harm, I think they could. You know,
Yeah.
so I think what I'm saying here is that I think that it would affect a lot of people if there was a sort of conspiracy that was there to create a fake conspiracy to cast doubt on people and get them to a bad mental state.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm saying is that I would think that conspiracism, the way that you're describing it, talking about conspiracism, the way you're saying it, can be harmful, based in the logic of, that you believe in conspiracy theories and
Hmm.
whatnot. So, I mean, what would you just say about that, real quick?
I mean, I get that is a fair point to where it can be harmful and all that. I guess just me looking at it and my own bias of things, I can't see how a bad conspiracy or whatever they're trying to plant in our brains could be that harmful, but I definitely understand the thought process
I mean,
behind saying it could be.
like, let's say coronavirus is a big hoax, right?
Yeah.
People are just dying from the flu, and this is all an agenda to get more control and relinquish our rights. All right, let's
Mhm.
let's say that. So, I mean, that's basically what I'm saying, isn't it?
Reword that? You're saying
So, like I said, as a hypothetical, coronavirus is a big hoax, and it's not actually real or as deadly or bad as everybody's saying it is.
Mhm.
So wouldn't that be sort of this conspiracy that is a fake conspiracy? You know what I'm saying? Where it's like this
Oh,
fake
if
thing that's made up to hinder people. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I guess I guess that could be pretty harmful to people and really mess with their head because
Yeah,
then they keep going back and forth to is this a hoax or is this real? What's really happening? And then they
yeah,
can drive themselves a little.
yeah. Because I think everybody has been stir crazy or been harshly affected by coronavirus in general. And basically, what I'm doing here is sort of re-engineering the question um, of that. Like I'm trying to put it in the lens of a conspiracist, you know.
Yeah.
So that's basically why I did like two different examples there. Um, but you get what I'm saying? How conspiracism could be harmful, uh, you know, and it can be good, which I agree with. So I mean, I would say that it can be harmful and it can be um, good. What would you say?
Yeah, I guess I'd have to agree. It makes sense to where it could be good and it could be just as harmful in ways.
So to wrap up here, would you feel like your thought process has changed at all
Um,
in any way? I'm just wondering. It could be yes or no.
yeah, I guess in the sense of conspiracism as a whole, I kind of opened up my brain to that a little bit as whether it could be harmful or good or the effects on society.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it like changed anything, but opened up my thoughts a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean that's always good to open it up,
Yeah.
regardless of whatever you're talking about. If you were talking to me about conspiracy, like this was reversed, I think it'd be good to expand my mind a little bit because it's definitely not healthy to just take what you're told and then said, okay, this is the truth, you know.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, is there anything you sort of want to say in closing or want the professor to know?
Um,
Just anything.
really just I guess I think people should keep their minds open and not really go crazy into conspiracies, but at least make your own thoughts on conspiracies.
As a whole.
Yeah, as a whole.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate you talking to me. Um, I might have jumbled a few words there and some phrasing, but I think this went pretty decent. What did you say?
Yeah, it was a good interview.
Yeah. So I appreciate it, and hope you have a good one.
You too.
Bye.